How's it going, guys? This video is the start of a new segment on my channel where each week I'll be taking 5 of the stocks that I believe will perform the best over the next week. I'll be going through the reasons why I think they will do well, both with technical chart analysis as well as fundamental analysis. I will be posting these videos each week on Sunday, and then the next Friday I'll make another video analyzing how each of the stocks performed during the past week. Before I start analyzing these stocks, I want to make it clear that currently the GMI signal is red and we are in a downtrend. This means that following my trading rules, I would not be investing in any stocks currently, and I would be waiting out the market in cash. So this video is purely for educational purposes and to help explain to you guys my methods, both with technical analysis and fundamental analysis. That being said, we can start going through each of the 5 stocks, and I'll show you things that I like and things that I don't like about each and every one of them. So we're going to start on the fundamental side of things because in my method, that's how I do it. So to rank all the stocks fundamentally, what I do is I download a ton of criteria through MarketSmith, and then I have my own algorithms which sort through the noise and add or deduct points based off of values. Then this Excel sheet basically adds up all those values, and at the end of it I'm left with an overall final value which I then sort all the stocks by. Then what I do next is I take the top 300 stocks from my list and I paste that into a TC2000 watch list where I then go through and sort through the technicals. That being said, let's go ahead and start analyzing KL. KL is overall ranked 7th on my list, which is very good, and its EPS change these last few quarters has been accelerating, which signifies a really strong growth stock. KL also has a very strong return on equity of 23.6%, and it is also currently on the IBD top 50 list, which is their picks for good, strong growth stocks. And finally, as with all the stocks that I picked, it currently has a timeliness rating of an A, which signifies a really strong stock. Moving over to the technical side of things, KL is a recent IPO, which is very good. That just gives it more room for growth. During this correction, KL has decent relative strength, as you can see by looking at the chart and also by looking down here. It also had a PGO combination as well as a lower Bollinger Band bounce recently, which signifies that it might jump up rapidly. KL does seem a little bit volatile, which I do not like, but its MACD is increasing and it had a low stochastic cross recently, all of which point to good things. Moving over to the weekly chart, we can see that it has been in a sustained uptrend, and currently its price is above the 4-week moving average, which is above the 10-week moving average, which is also above the 30-week moving average. And this really signifies a strong uptrend. Now let's move on to ticker symbol BLD, which is Top Build Corporation, and it is currently ranked number 34 on my overall fundamental rankings. Looking at the earnings per share, you can see that they're pretty high. They're averaging around 45, but what I don't like is that they're flat, so there's not this rapid growth that we're seeing in the earnings. It also has a 14.4 return on equity, which isn't as good as KL's, but is still pretty decent. Now moving on to the technical side of things for BLD, we can see that during this correction, it really doesn't have that relative strength that KL did. Instead of kind of going flat, it's actually trending down in the short term. However, it's also had a recent stochastic cross signified by this green dot, and also it's very low in the Bollinger Band range, which means that there could be a Bollinger Band bounce in the future. The MACD is also increasing currently, and the relative strength, although it peaked back here, is in an uptrend. Looking at the weekly chart, we can see that It is also in a sustained uptrend, and since January, it really hasn't fallen below this 10-week moving average and has been just kind of riding this 4-week moving average, which is very impressive. Next on our list is PLNT, which is number 116 on my fundamental ranking scale. Looking at PLNT's earnings, you can see that they again are pretty high, but they are flat here and actually decreasing currently, which isn't a good sign. Looking on its return on equity, it actually is 0, meaning it's not available, but it is on the IBD 50 list, which is a good sign. Again, it currently has a timeliness rating of an A, which is very good. So overall, PLNT has decent fundamentals. Now moving over to the daily chart of PLNT, you can see that just like the two previous stocks, it has had a green dot stochastic cross recently, and also a lower Bollinger Band bounce indicators recently, which are good signs that it may increase in price. Looking now at the weekly charts, we can see that just like the other two stocks, it is in a sustained uptrend. And just look at PLNT's chart data. Look at the sustained uptrend all the way from mid-2017 till now. This is a 294% increase, which is really astounding. One other thing that I want to point out is during this correction, this 20% correction that we just had in December, PLNT actually went sideways and a little bit up, which really shows a strong stock capable of a much bigger move. Now moving on to SERV, SERV, you can see that both SERV and KMX are actually much lower fundamentally than the other stocks. SERV is ranked number 230. Looking at the earnings report for SERV, we can see that it actually was negative a year ago, but it has okay EPS. I don't like to see that it was flat and then it increased dramatically, but then it fell back. I would like to see steady acceleration through the past couple quarters earnings reports. I also don't like to see that its return on equity is 7.7%. That's kind of below the around 13% threshold that I like. It is also not on the IBD 50 list, but it does have a timeliness rating of an A, which is a good thing. Moving over to the technical side of things, we can see that it jumped up on earnings and then kind of went and consolidated for a bit before now having another PGO indicator. I also like seeing this Bollinger Band squeeze right here. It goes from being very erratic here to really tightening up on this right hand side. SERV also has the PGO combination, which I really like, and also its relative strength versus SPY is doing really well. It's kind of just been consolidating here after jumping up on earnings, and this might actually be a new high for the relative strength, which is definitely a good sign. Looking at the weekly chart, we can see that since January it has been in an uptrend, and also the 10-week moving average is above the 30-week moving average, so it's in a strong uptrend. And finally, let's take a look at CarMax, ticker symbol KMX. It is currently number 237 out of my list, which is definitely getting up there in what I would consider investing in. Looking at the EPS change the past couple quarters, I really like seeing this accelerating pattern upward. As for the return on equity, this is really good. It's got over 25% return on equity, but it is not on the IBD 50 list. It also has a timeliness rating of an A, which is definitely good. So overall, pretty good fundamentals, and I especially like seeing that increasing EPS pattern. Moving over to the daily chart, we can see that the relative strength is pretty good. It's kind of been just going flat since the correction started, and it's kind of consolidating from this really strong push it had in late March, early April. So it could be just waiting for the market to turn a little bit before it starts making another upward push. I like seeing that it has had a stochastic cross recently, and also a purple and orange dot indicators in the same bar is a good sign. Its relative strength is also increasing, as you can see here. And now looking at the weekly charts, we can see that again it's been in a very strong uptrend, and the price is above the 10-week, which is above the 30-week. So these are the 5 stocks that I'm picking for this week. Again, I want to reiterate that the market is in a correction and I am not invested at all. I'm following these 5 stocks just kind of for educational purposes and to help teach you guys my methods. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next Friday to analyze how these stocks actually perform over the next week.